He thought it was just a little juice. Every morning, around pukul 7.30, Arnold would pour himself a tall glass of cranberry juice and eat while watching the birds from his porch. Harmless, right? But 3 months ago, Aro tine heartcha could turn it into something else. Your heart is out of your head, his doctor sighed. And just like that, he was on meditation. He didn't fully understand. Turns out, it wasn't his heart. It was what he drank before the appointment. What if your daily drinks, the honest you believe are part of your healthy eating habits, are quietly making your hair bit irregular, just long enough to fool even your doctor? Let's talk about the 5 most common drinks that may be misleading your body as signals. Some of them seem innocent, but when you are over 60, what your body does with them isn't it always what you'd expect. Arnold never thought twice about that juice. Or the espresso he brewed right after. At 74, he was proud of how he kept up his routines. Early walks, reading the paper, keeping his out low, and following what he believed were healthy eating habits. His doctor had always said, you were doing just fine for your age. So when he started feeling like that after walking up the stairs, he chalked it up to my being a little tired. But the next morning, at his yearly checkup, things felt different. After a quick kage, the nurse furrowed her brow. The doctor chimed in with quick concern. Arnold, your heartbeat is irregular. We may need to monitor this closely. 3 hours later, he left the clinic with a prescription and a quick fair luggage in his chest. Irregular heartbeat, so undead serious. His doctor googled everything. His neighbor said, it's probably your age. But Arnold felt fine. No chest pain, no shortness of breath, just confusion. 2 weeks into the meditation, his fatigue was worse than ever. He chose to finish a walk without needing to sit down. His body felt off, like it wasn't his ajmore. That's when another doctor took a closer look. What did you eat or drink before your last test? She asked. Arnold told her, cranberry juice, 1 espresso, no breakfast. The new doctor smiled gently. You were not sick. Your heart was reacting to charina and sugar on an empty stomach. It was temporary. Arnold's sigh of relief was deep, but so was his frustration. How could something so small create so much confusion? He is not alone. Many people offer an ample experience false alarms like this. And most of the time, no one tells them it could start with what's in their cup every morning. Arnold's experience did just shock him. It awakened him. 4 days after that confrontation with John Doctor, he kept replying the timeline in his head. The juice, the coffee, the empty stomach, the stress. None of it had seemed significant. But together, they mimicked something life-threatening. And that mimicry nearly sent his life down a path of unnecessary meditation, fatigue, and confusion. What else were people offer nampu drinking that could trigger similar scars? He began reading, asking questions, even jotting notes on kitchen counter whenever I'd made him feel a little off. And slowly, a pattern emerged. Fife everyday beverages that can throw the body into temporary misalignment, leading to misleading medical readings. These aren't toxic drinks. They're common, familiar, but for an older body, especially when being monitored closely, they can whisper signals loud enough to be misunderstood. Let's go through the favorite drinks. The honest most likely to confuse not just your body, but potentially your doctor. 1. Strong coffee on an empty stomach. Arnold loved his espresso, strong, dark, and quick. For years, it was part of his morning identity. But at 74, that double thought before food was doing something new. His heart would thump a bit harder, his hands felt unsteady. Nothing scary, but different. Caffeine acts faster when there is no food to slow absorption. In older adults, the liver and nervous system process it more slowly, making the spike less longer. When he drank coffee before Uncle Test, his heart rate surged up to 90 bpm, within the upper end of normal, but just enough to flag tachycardia on a machine. The nurse did ask about his caffeine. She just printed the report. The doctor followed the numbers. That's how the meditation started. Arnold now drinks a light breakfast sake oras a bullet egg before sipping coffee. Sometimes he chooses half Jeff. The same drink, now paired differently, no longer triggers that false signal. His morning erhatam has returned to calm. Dua diet soda with arch sweeteners. One of Arnold's neighbors, Charlie, swore by diet cola. No sugar, no problem, he did say, proudly cracking open a Coke can every afternoon. But after a full month of fatigue and light palpitations, his wife convinced him to get checked. The heart monitor saw scattered irregularities. Not dangerous, but enough to concern his doctor. Turns out, certain sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose can subtly affect neurotransmitters and electrical balance, especially in older adults. While they don't cause heart disease, they may cause jitteriness, blood pressure fluctuations, or fast heartbeats in sensitive individuals. Charlie stopped the diet soda for a week. The next test, normal, no medication needed. Arnold thought not and swapped his own diet drinks for infused water, slices of cucumber, lemon, even mint leafes. He missed the feast, but not the fogginess or racing heart. His hydration became a part of his healthy eating habits, not a hidden stressor. Tiga wine or whiskey at night. Arnold's doctor bought him a nice bottle of Cabernet for his birthday. A glass in the evening helped him unwind. But he started waking up with strange dreams and a fine sense of fluttering in his chest. Nothing alarming, just a flicker. At his next appointment, he picked up a few irregular beats. The doctor mentioned holiday heart syndrome, a real condition where light alcohol intake can disrupt heart rhythm, especially in people over 60. Arnold had never heard of it. When glass? He asked. Yes, especially closer to bedtime. Alcohol affects heart rate variability and sleep cycles, and can still influence rhythm hours later, especially if you have a test early the next morning. He didn't want to give up wine altogether, so he adjusted. No alcohol within 24 hours of any heart test. He also started alternating with herbalas like chamomile or rooibos. Chalmer nix, clearer erhaitahanes. A small shift, big reward. Pakaget fruit juices in the morning. Cranberry, orange, apple. Arnold had treated them all. 100% juice, Saemed liked the healthy toss. But one morning, after drinking a full glass of orange juice, he felt his chest tighten slightly. Again, not pain, just something of fruit juices, even natural honest, are high in fructose. This sugar absorbs rapidly, spiking blood sugar and possibly triggering insulin reactions. For seniors, this can momentarily raise the heart rate, flush the face, or cause dizziness. If you go for a test after that, the effects may still linger. Your vitals are responding to sugar, not sickness. But the machine doesn't know that. Arnold test fix? He began diluting his juice, one part due to part fill red water. Or he added the woolly fruit instead. Fever slows the sugar, and showing wakes up digestion. It wasn't about giving up juice. It was about giving his body a better chance to handle it gracefully. Lima ice cold water before or during testing. Of all the surprises, this one struck Arnold the most. He'd always believed that cold water was energizing. He'd even read somewhere it boosts metabolism. But during one hot summer afternoon, he drank 2 glasses of ice water right before a heart scan. The technician said an eyebrow, "Your pulse is unusually low and slightly erratic." He was sent for a second opinion. What happened? Cold water can trigger the vagus nerve, which helps regulate the heartbeat. In younger people, the effect fades quickly. But in older adults, it can cause bradycardia, slow heart rate, palpitations, or fluttery sensations. Arnold started drinking room temperature water, especially before appointments. Not warm, just neutral. That one chunk kept his reading stable and his tests uneventful. He still stayed hydrated, just smarter about when and how. Tese drinks aren't the felines. They're just misunderstood partners. They don't harm everyone. But when you were over 60, and your body becomes more sensitive to what you consume, even the smallest triggers can send mixed signals. And those signals can lead to unnecessary medications, emotional stress, financial strain from follow-up tests, a growing sense of something is wrong with me, when really, your body is just trying to adapt. What Arnold learned is this: your heart is still strong, but how you support it needs to fulfill. He started journaling what he drank, when, and how he felt afterward. After 3 weeks, he noticed fewer fluttery moments, deeper sleep, and better energy. His follow-up test? Spotless. Even more powerful, he felt in control again. No more mystery symptoms. No more guessing. Just gentle adjustments with clear benefits. He shared his experience with his weekly community center group. To his surprise, 4 others cited they gone through something similar, but no one had ever told them drinks could affect test result. That moment changed everything. They started swapping stories, not just symptoms, encouraging each other, empowering one another. Arnold now calls it drinking with awareness. It's not about fear, it's about listening, about asking before assuming, about making your drinks matter how your body actually needs, not the one caffeine or sugar demand. Because sometimes the key to peace of mind isn't in appeal. It's in your cup. Arnold didn't expect that something so simple, what he drank, could save how others sallallahu alaihi wasallam his health. He also didn't expect the emotional thought that misinterpreted in could bring. At first, he kept quiet about the heart meditation. He didn't want to worry his doctor. He didn't want his neighbors to ask questions. But most of all, he didn't want to admit that he was becoming one of those people, the honest who are always managing something, always being monitored. And that took stung. Because Arnold didn't feel fragile. He still mowed his own lawn. He still danced at weddings. He still woke up early to chat the first light. But the doctor words, the prescriptions, the opinions, they chipped away at his sense of confidence, not just in his health, but in himself. It wasn't the diagnosis that hurt. It was a feeling of being seen as less able, less sharp, or less independent. And all of it stemmed from something no one had warned him about. That what you drink, when you drink it, and how your aging body reacts, those things can say the story your doctor says on a screen. When he finally talked to his doctor about it, she didn't react with panic. She reacted with love. Dad, she said, you've always been strong. Being informed doesn't make you weaker, it makes you smarter. That was the turning point. Not the clean test result, not the better sleep, but the moment he felt seen, not as a patient, but as a person. This wasn't about juice or soda or coffee anymore. It was about dignity, about having a say in your own story, and about the quiet power of noticing small things. Things like a glass of water or a few sips of wine that could either confuse your heart or help it speak clearly. After that conversation with his doctor, Arnold didn't just feel lighter, he felt more in control. He didn't throw out everything in his kitchen. He didn't stop drinking coffee or bunny's fruit juice. What he did was more powerful. He started paying attention. He began asking questions, not just at the doctor's office, but at the grocery store, during his morning routines, and even in casual conversations with friends. Hey, he did ask, do you ever feel your heart race after a drink? Most had no idea, but some nodded slowly. Now that you mention it, that's how small changes start. Not from fear, not from shame, but from curiosity, from connection, and from the desire to feel good without losing everything. Arnold now makes a simple breakfast before his coffee. He drinks room temperature water in the morning. He still enjoys a glass of wine, but not before a test. Tests aren't restrictions. They're acts of kindness toward his heart, his peace of mind, and the people who care about him. One Sunday, after a walk, He and a few friends from his community center sat on a bench, sipping herbal tea and talking about the good old days. So when I asked, so what's the secret to feeling young at our age? Arnold smiled and sighed, it's not about staying young. It's about understanding your body better every year. Because growing older isn't about giving things up. It's about learning what lifts you up. And so metimes, the smallest shifts, like drinking with intention, can bring you back to center. You don't have to become a different person. You just have to become a little more tuned in. And when you do, your body thanks you in quiet, beautiful ways. No panic, no fear, just clarity. That's what healthy living looks like at 60, 70, 80 and beyond. It's not dramatic. It's steady. It's beautiful. It's yours. And that's the real takaway. It's not about the drinks themselves. It's about their time taken in your life. When you learn what works with your body, you stop guessing. You stop fearing. You start living more freely. Arnold